Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, since more than 2 decades, Pakistan is continuously fighting the battle against terrorism. Several valiant sons of soil laid down their lives and thousands injured to protect motherland from all odds. Pakistan Army along with whole nation shows firm resolve to fight the menace of terrorism and completely root out to have long-term stability, peace and development in the country. Just recently, United Nations Security Council's 34th report of the Analytical Support and Sanctions Monitoring Team exposed the intricate network of terrorism emanating from Afghanistan. Report confirmed what Pakistan has long suspected, that Afghanistan has become the epicenter of terrorism, harboring over 10,000 terrorists from groups like Fitna al-Kharij, Daesh, Al-Qaeda, Balochistan Liberation Army and Liberation Front and others. These terrorists have found safe havens in Afghanistan, particularly along the Pakistani borders, and are receiving support from the Kabul Interim Authority. The reports reveal a disturbing trend of increased funding, arms and facilitation from Afghanistan and abroad, enabling these groups to expand their operations and pose a significant threat not only to Pakistan but to regional security. We will try to delve into the findings of the UN report, highlighting the regrouping and reorganization of Fitna al-Kharij, their training activities supervised by Al-Qaeda and the growing collaboration among Al-Qaeda affiliates. We will also examine the role of Afghanistan in supporting these terrorist groups and the implications for Pakistan's national security. To discuss this very grave issue, we have in our studios Ms. Kiran Bhatt. She is the digital editor of the Khorasan Diary. Most welcome to you, Kiran. Thank you very much for your time. And with her, we have Mr. Hassan Khan. He is the senior journalist and ample expertise on Afghan affairs. Most welcome to you, Hassan. Thank you very much. Online joining us, Ambassador Shahid Masroor Kiani. He is the seasoned diplomat and very experienced personality. Most welcome to you, Ambassador Syed. Thank you very much for your time online. Kiran, my first question to you, that how do you see Pakistani security forces fierce fight against terrorism and the terrorists, as 139 officers and soldiers martyred in at least 23,622 intelligence-based operations so far, which are more than at least 100 operations daily, while in the last 15 days, 2,045 operations conducted in which at least 24 terrorists have been killed. So, how do you see the overall scenario?
Yeah, thank you so much, Faisal Saab. First of all, we have to see as journalists as well that when we report one incident, any incident in Khorasan Diary, so we have to see that who was the target, how they targeted him, and how many casualties have been, occurred in past like 2 months. So when we report such incidents, like you said, that 133 soldiers have been martyred and 139. The number will be like, now it will be above than 139, and 24 terrorists were
These
killed.
are actually those figures which DGISPR has actually given on 5th of August in his press
during the briefing. So we have to see that we have lost our more than 140 or 100 soldiers in those days, and 24 terrorists were killed. So why our numbers are more than their numbers? What is happening on the ground, how militant organizations are changing their strategies to attack the law enforcement agencies. So when we report any incident, it's most of the time it's a police officer is coming back from the duty or going to the duty. On the way they have targeted him, or they have selected one target and then did all of his recce, that at what time he goes.
Convoy is going, and then you have improvised
absolutely, they have
device
just
and something like
have
that.
to plant one IED, and then that's how our numbers are more than the numbers of the militant.
The main reason
killed.
behind.
Absolutely. So, but what if they are changing their strategies with this, so why our strategies are the same? So if you travel, in former FATA area, and if you move with the convoy, because once we also went with ISPR, so there is a car that is, at the front of the convoy, which can detect if any IED is planted anywhere. So this shows that the normal, the movement of the soldiers is not protected by like that when a special convoy is protected. So these are, easy target for them in those areas. So that's why our numbers are, that much, and the militants numbers are very less. But we have to see that during this whole time, did we really change our strategies? Like, what is the difference between now intelligence based operations happening and what we were doing in the past? If they are now equipped with the latest weapon, and we are continuously complaining that our police is under resourced, and our they do not have that latest gears to protect themselves, and they do not have those latest weapons. So are we investing at the right point and in the right things that can save these lives? So I guess we have to look towards that. First, what is our plan A to deal with this scenario right now? That is, it's a new buildup of militant organizations. And then if our plan A is not working, so do we have a plan B? And what is that plan B? Either we are going to change the strategies of our IBOs, or either we are going to equip our forces with latest weaponry, or we are going to invest in their safety, those vehicles, or all of that latest gear.
Actually
So
these are the areas which you are rightly pointing out. These are basically the areas under the National Action Plan, 14 points, which are already stressed by the DGISPR as well. And military is always stressing upon that the governments must have to take ownership of this, and they must show their political will to do that.
So now one incident I want to mention here, that after Bannu protest, and when the tribal elders went and met with CM of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, so he gave a statement that I am I am giving orders to the police that they should go into the field and they arrest anyone with the weapon, and they have started lodging FIRs and started arresting. But there was a resistance from the other side, and they were equipped like better than our police officers.
Definitely, those were the smuggled weapons, and they have in the aftermath of US NATO withdrawal, they have all the weapons available, night visions available. Those are not available to our police actually.
So
this is the main problem. To be equipped on
this is the main problem, that either we are going to address this, we are telling our police to go and attack and fight, but how they are going to attack and
your
fight?
Point well taken, you absolutely right. Hassan, as DGISPR in his recent press has said that Pakistan has more than 1,450 checkposts at the Pak-Afghan border, but on the other side only around 200 checkposts, and they are also not fully manned. This shows their intent actually, the Kabul's intent. Even during smuggling, terrorist activity or the illegal crossings, Afghan forces give the fire cover and facilitate them. So why Kabul is deliberately doing it as was done during the Karzai and the Ashraf Ghani era?
Thank you very much, Faisal. Look, your first question, the second question, says Kiran has answered the first one, and both are related to each other. And it shows that Pakistan's security establishment's commitment to take the fight right to the dens of the terrorists. I will use the word dens of the terrorists, and that's the reason that casualties are more. Security forces are getting martyred.
And one of the other reason might be that forces don't want collateral damage. That's why the casualties are also...
Mostly yes. Intelligence-based operations are meant to reduce collateral damages to the minimum. So you have to be extra careful. You can't just open the fire on just presumption that it may be a terrorist. That person may not be a terrorist. It may be an ordinary person, or maybe another.
It is not like that you are just having a bombing or
you're
something
trigger
like
happy.
that.
You're not a trigger happy boy. Just go there and open fire. So definitely that's the reason that recently, Peshawar and outskirts, the intelligence-based operations done by the security forces and the CTD together. So every time you see is the security forces went right to the hideouts of the terrorists. So definitely when you are proactively pursuing them, so definitely you have to face the retaliatory things from their side, because they are sitting there presumably well protected, well guarded, etc., and you are just going there, either you are crossing their fences or over the walls, etc. So that's one reason. Another is for this border checkpoints or security packets from the Pakistani sides is concerned. It again shows Pakistan's seriousness, that look, we are serious, we are committed enough to guard our part of the our side of the border. And definitely now this is the responsibility of the Afghan government also to take such measures where to stop these terrorists infiltrate on either side, whether it is going from Pakistan, but Pakistan has already done a lot of what we call it fencing, plus manning the border. But unfortunately on the Afghan side, they have a lot of ifs and buts and what you call it excuses, etc. Sometimes the excuses of the shortage of for manpower, sometimes the excuses of shortage of resources, etc. So Afghanistan is an unstable, there is no doubt Afghanistan is an unstable country. For the last 40 years, there is no single government which lasts for more than, I think, few years and not face the opposition, especially the armed opposition. So that's one point. And I think the better is manning the border or protecting the border. It is too difficult a task, I think. You know, even international powerful countries like the US, they haven't succeeded in.
Definitely, you are absolutely right, because 2,600,
but the best is,
more than 2,600 kilometers of the border is unable, because it is not very easy to man each and every inch of the border. But at least there should be some sort of political will at the Afghan side that they are guarding their border.
That's what I want to say, is that better we Afghanistan and Pakistan negotiate and at least show a commitment, take a commitment from the Afghan side that they are committed not to let them cross into Pakistan. But in most of the cases, we have seen that this crossing is taking place right in the presence of Afghan forces. It's not only the unfrequented routes used by the terrorists to cross into Pakistan. Sometimes it is the Afghan forces, especially the Taliban militias, who are facilitating their brothers in arms. I will use the word brother in arms because they say we fought together for almost 2 decades against the foreigners. So that's the reason, and I think Pakistan is in a difficult position to deal with these situations. One, Pakistan is facing the terrorist onslaught, and second, Pakistan is facing the unwillingness in Kabul. So these are the two challenges which the Pakistan political establishment, the Pakistan security establishments right now faced while facing the terrorists, are increasing lawlessness in the region.
Obviously, your point well taken. Ambassador Shahid sir, after July 8th, 2024, comprehensive 15th report of the Analytical Support and Sanctions Monitoring Team, and now there is a 34th report of the Analytical Support and Sanctions Monitoring Team of the United Nations Security Council, endorsed the same. What Pakistan is saying since years, that Afghanistan becomes the epicenter of terrorism. Your thoughts, please.
First of all, thank you very much for having me on my show. Sometimes I feel surprised at people. I mean, people are dumbstruck as what's happening between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Our 75 years of history, it is Afghanistan, just quickly go through, which opposed Pakistan admission to the UN. When that was done, twice during the 75 years, Pakistan relations, diplomatic relations with Afghanistan was cut off and then was restored. They have, believe it or not, a serious problem looking at Pakistan, meaning a country with which they have so many commonalities. But in the hearts of hearts, I tell you very frankly, they have not accepted the creation of Pakistan. I've been to Afghanistan many times. Then we have this narrative here in our country, which also created problems and confusion, the strategic depth, and then good and bad Taliban and all this thing. Now, coming back to this, I'm not surprised as Afghanistan being the epicenter of terrorism. There is no doubt about it. Can you imagine the military and our political leadership sat down with them across the table, telling them that this is not working for us? Meaning, if Afghanistan wants to live in the 13th century, good, we have no problem with that. I sometimes see the priority of, people say women are not allowed to work. It's bad. But our priority should be, that is an internal matter, but our priority should be that our borders should be secure. They should not allow any XYZ from the territory to come and attack us. Number two, Afghanistan is a one-party state. They want to live in the dark ages and the cave ages. It's okay. Pakistan is a democratic dispensation. Now you see the DGISPR's briefing, and ourselves every single day, a soldier, a policeman, or a citizen dies. Can you imagine the pressures on the political military leadership from the people of Pakistan as to what is this happening? And in English they say, spare the rod, spoil the child. Afghanistan, you see, we had a policy of fencing, excellent policy. The borders have to be fenced right from X to Z, and they have to be, anybody wants to come to Pakistan, he should have the proper papers. He wants to come for medical treatment, for education, no problem. Proper visas they take and come to this country. We don't want to live in the 13th century. We don't want to live. This will be a security for us and security for them. Other thing, Pakistan, I think we have told them, many times to stop. Don't allow this territory to be used. There's international law rule of hot pursuit. If the Afghanistani, this issue, for example, to going into the territory, should be discussed in the floor of the House, bipartisan resolution, and then a briefing should be taken from the Pakistan Armed Forces and from the security establishment as to what's happening. Because you cannot, now this is something, a consensus has to be made that this is something which we want to do with Afghanistan. The Afghan government should understand this is not working. You see, look at the other countries. You have the question which I was looking at, Russia and other countries. Afghanistan has two faces. One with these countries, Afghanistan, Russia and other things, in which they would sit down and listen to them. But for us, they don't want to listen. And we are brother-in-law. What brother-in-law? You want to fight a war? Fight it inside your country. Don't, challenge us. Because Pakistani government, I'm telling you, is at the tither's end. We are not at a stage where Pakistani government would take things in his own hands and then try to stop this thing. I'm telling you very frankly, there is no other solution except put it in black and consensus in the House of Parliament, put it in black and white, send a written report, warning to the Afghan government and say, this is what we are asking to do. If they don't do, then the next stage has to be that these places where they have given them refuge.
Your point well taken. Kiran, do you not think that this Fitna al-Kharij, regrouping, reorganization and their training activities are supervised by Al-Qaeda with a long-term intent? Fitna al-Kharij operations in Pakistan increases many folds, while report says that great collaboration among Al-Qaeda affiliates could transform this whole fitna into an extra-regional threat.
Okay, so first of all, let me address one thing, that the word we are using, Fitna al-Kharij, for our audience is also very important to understand that what is this, because when at Khorasan Diary also, because we have an international audience, and we asked this question in Ministry of Foreign Affairs also while in the briefing, and they also addressed it. When you are using a new term, you have to make your audience understand, because we address a lot of international media people and reporters. So now a new term has come up to use against this Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, that is definitely. Inverted commas are like Fitna al-Kharij, and so you have to tell the audience also that what does this mean. So while using this term also, it's very difficult to put it in a perspective that okay, now
actually now we are continuously using it, and we have clarified in our first program.
This is also very important to address one issue, and the other one, like you said, that their training camps.
One of the surprising fact of this report that is this Fitna al-Kharij, what formerly known as Kiran was saying, that it is important to clarify, former TTP due to continuous financial support, arms, ammunition, safe sanctuaries, and extreme facilitation from Kabul Interim Authority, become strong enough that they have many times challenged Al-Qaeda and tried to gain its control even. But Al-Qaeda is actually exercising restraint, patience, and prioritizing relationship with the Fitna al-Kharij or the TTP because of the certain reasons, because they are a bit weak on that front. So how do you see such a struggle between the terrorist organizations to take control on and to have hegemony in Afghanistan?
Look, I think this is quite unfortunate that Afghanistan is a center, as Ambassador Shahid has said, is the center of terrorist syndicates of all colors and all who you will find, whether it is Al-Qaeda, TTP, ETIM, AMU, AIO, you just have the initials and you name it, and unfortunately it is there, including ISIS, Daesh. So Al-Qaeda is, you know, it's considered SAMS to be holier as far as this terrorist, Islamic terrorism, Islamist terrorism is concerned. So definitely Al-Qaeda is the lead one. So they have this, and you know, this as far the TTP is concerned, TTP is a new child as compared to the other. But Faisal, let me tell you, the problem is not that how the terror syndicate interact with each other, because they have a common agenda. Today,
obviously,
they will be definitely fighting with each other, but tomorrow when they see that they are weakened, so they will definitely be together. You know, Afghan Taliban, you know the TTP. Who was the TTP? TTP was the, they were working together with the Afghan Taliban. When we were fighting the TTP since 2007, we were witnessing that under our, I think definitely under our watchful eyes, we were witnessing that TTP is serving as a conduit for the Afghan Taliban. It was a link between the Pakistani terrorists and the Afghan Taliban, and we put, I think unfortunately we closed our eyes over these facts. Now, to address this issue, I think we have to de-emotionalize the environment. Look, it's not dealing, I think it takes a lot of courage to disagree with Ambassador Shahid. He has a lot of experience and working in the international organizations and especially the negotiations thing and peace buildings projects, etc. But what I want to say is that, look, we have, I think, West a lot of time. It is a story of 4 decades. It's not a story of, it's not 9/11 when all the things Pakistan and Afghanistan's born and they started relations with each other. It is not the August 15, 2021 when the Taliban took over and there was a new Afghanistan and there was a new Pakistan and there was a new environment. No, sir. I think we are here and we are witnessing the whole story unfolded in front of our eyes. We saw our senior most politicians calling the Pakistan's engagement in Afghanistan done on the behest of the Americans. One, we have seen the Pakistani senior most politicians encouraging the Afghan Taliban, the today bad boy for Pakistan, encouraging them to take over, and you know the very famous statements coming out from their souls, not let's say from their soul. So I think we have to.
They have broken the shackles.
They have broken the shackles and Taqat-e Tumari or Khuda Hamara, things like it. So I think instead of pursuing the old path of what we call it antagonism, what we call it use of force, what we call it like just for the sake of this spearing a rod and spoiling a child, etc. Afghanistan is a country, and whether it is small and whether it is big, whether it is weak, whether it is stronger, etc., that is another thing. But it is a country, and I think when a country deal with a country, and we have to look at Pakistan's too. At the moment, what's Pakistan's positions? Either we are in a position to attack Afghanistan, if an attack could serve the purpose. So I think there were 150,000 external well-armed international well-equipped forces in Afghanistan for 2 decades. Have they succeeded in their missions there? No. So if not, so the better is to find out ways where we go toward the solutions,
definitely,
not toward the more problems. So the solutions lies in engaging people like people who are
at least negotiations with Kabul. That is very important,
and not once, time and again. Definitely. We have even to engage our friends. We have to engage the regional countries. We have to engage the organization like SCO. We have to engage the organization like OIC, etc., the UN, etc., even the other local arrangements.
We have to use the international platform and the diplomacy to resolve this.
We have to do that proactively, with I think with a strong passion.
Okay, let's have an idea from the Ambassador Shahid Sahib. Ambassador Shahid Sahib, United Nations Security Council's both reports, which were came in July, suggest that right now more than 10,000 terrorists are having the safe havens in Afghanistan, and mostly along Pakistan and Iran border, including Fitna al-Kharij, which we call formerly the TTP, Daesh, Al-Qaeda, BLA, BLF and all others, including ETIM and others, means Afghanistan is a breeding ground of the terrorists, and it's immensely costing Pakistan's economy, social fabric and overall political stability.
My friends who are sitting in the studio, naturally they have their own opinion. I respect their opinion. But just let me ask them, would anybody XYZ can go to the houses of those people, the soldiers, the policemen, and the common man who lost their lives at the hands of the terrorists and say, no, we need to talk to them and negotiate with them? We don't do that. We have done enough. Last 3 years, the interim Afghan government, or Afghan government, I would say, have not listened to you. The military and the political leadership has sat down across the table with them. I've seen them coming to the Foreign Office and others. They are, believe it or not, they believe that, meaning some sort of whatever system exists in Afghanistan should be imposed here in this country, and the TTP will do it. We cannot negotiate with a terrorist organization. It was done in the past. It was a blunder. I tell you frankly, you don't do it. This country needs to be told and have been told very clearly that enough is enough. You said, spare the rod, spoil the child. I say it once again. If the country, your neighbor, you see, they said tyranny of geography and the significance of coexistence. They should understand that when Pakistan came on this map of the world, we found left and right these countries. We understood them and we reached out to them. Barring aside Afghanistan, the other countries welcomed us. Now the thing is how to justify this daily killing of soldiers and policemen and the common man, how to do it. The Afghan government has been told again and again, and I once again say to you, sir, this issue has to be brought to the floor of the House. It has briefing to be given by the armed forces and by the security establishment that this is what's happening, and let a consensus develop as to what has to be done to Afghanistan. And I tell you very frankly, if we do not use means other than negotiation, if that fail, how long would you continue to justify this thing and keep on telling the people that, yes, we are talking to Afghanistan? How long? Can you tell me? And more people will be lost, more soldiers will die. What will you do? I don't understand.
Ambassador, one of the another grave issue is that this Fitna al-Kharij and Daesh are expanding their operations in Afghanistan, a danger for whole of the region, including Pakistan, and the funding resources are rapidly rising in Asia from Europe and Africa, while their recruitment methodology is actually preferring Pakistan, especially the Fitna al-Kharij or the TTP, is preferring Pakistani and Afghan nationals, and Daesh is attracting fodder from Central Asian republics, including Tajikistan, Uzbekistan and all other countries. So how do you see their recruitment and terrorist funding, which is straight away coming to them, and they are actually having very much freedom in Afghanistan at the Afghan soil?
You see, there are hotbeds of terrorism, these places in Pakistan also, from where they're getting the support. Because it cannot happen that only these people are there in Afghanistan, they come here. They have their supporters, sympathizers in this country who think that this is not an Islamic state, we'll make an Islamic state. Meaning, one has to ask them, is there any law in this country, including the constitution, where there are un-Islamic laws? None exist. Another thing, I think these countries, neighboring countries like China and Russia, we need to engage them behind the scenes, talk to them, and so that they reason with we can use the diplomatic channels behind the scenes, engaging these two very important countries with which Afghanistan listens, and tell them that this is not helpful. It's not helpful to you. You have to coexist. You need to improve the living conditions of your country, of your people, and get away from the sanctions which have been imposed to you. It can only be done when you coexist with your neighbors as peaceful neighbors. And you believe or not, people-to-people contract, businesses can thrive. Transit trade, we have helped them. But every single day when this thing happens, people start questioning, even in the streets, people question as what the government is doing. And government cannot keep on justifying.
Right, definitely the people question, no doubt about it. Hassan Khan, do you not think that Pakistan has to establish extremely effective mechanism to check all illegal activities on ground in financial system and at digital platforms, as terror outfits are gathering funding not only from the traditional but the non-traditional and digital resources?
Look, Faisal, I think it should have been, there is no doubt in it. It should have been done from the day first. It's a strange country where we are still talking whether we have to plug the entries and exit points for smugglers or not. So I think it's very strange, and it's very strange questions too. But let me also say one thing. I'm not in favor, and you know, in your programs, I am the person who did against any opening up any negotiations with the terrorists. So I'm not talking of negotiating peace with the terrorists like the TTP or any other organization, whether good Taliban, whether bad Talib. This was from the day first, because we know, and we are living in this world, in the area where these terrorists are operating.
But no one ever asked to halt negotiations, state-to-state negotiations. There is no doubt about it.
But yes, if you want to negotiate with Afghanistan and negotiation is not working, so what's the other options? Is a diplomat in Shahid will say, open a war. So I think if war is a better option, then negotiating again,
Some of the friendly countries can contribute to that, like China, because look, China is acceptable to both.
A diplomat's job is to avoid a war.
Yeah, definitely.
I think a diplomat's job, I'm not directing these points towards Shahid Sahib. Shahid Sahib is a very renowned, I think is Pakistan's Foreign Office officer. But this is my question as an ordinary person, that if you are not
actually we have run short of time, so if you just go towards the funding,
the best is I think we need to have a regional approach.
Definitely.
And I'm telling it from, I think, last so many years, that this is not Pakistan's issue alone. This is not Afghanistan issues alone.
It's a regional issue.
It is a regional issue, and we have to look to this issue from a regional prism. Obviously. And you have to involve. Iran is facing the same terrorism from Afghanistan, but Iran has not opted to open a war against Afghanistan. China is facing ETIM. Uzbekistan is facing Uzbekistan Islamic Movement. Tajikistan is facing Tehrik-e-Taliban, Tajikistan, etc. Turkmenistan, etc. So all the 6 neighbors of Afghanistan are almost facing the same situations. Maybe TTP takes far more than the other terrorist network, but the problem is, instead of going alone to Kabul or engaging alone to the Kabul, etc., I think we need to engage the regional approach.
Your point well taken.
Even the Indian, even the Chinese, even the Russians, even the Islamic bloc need to be engaged in it.
Yes.
And I still say, for this permanent solution of this problem, a regional approach and negotiated approach is the better one.
Kiran, Daesh is direct threat to Afghanistan and indirect threat to Pakistan, Iran, Russia and all regional countries. Why not Afghan Taliban ask this TTP thing or the Fitna al-Kharij to fight against Daesh rather than fighting with Pakistan? So, but it's altogether opposite looking like that. But why Kabul is so lean? What's the advantage they are getting by supporting Fitna al-Kharij? Is it like they're using proxy to have some sort of a weightage to the neighboring countries?
Okay, so when we talk about Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and ISKP, that is Islamic State Khorasan province, so we have to understand that militant organizations do not work like you can pinpoint them towards each other or against each other.
But they are collaborating.
They both have different, ideologies, and they both have different targets. The TTP has, given again and again their manifesto, and then it has been like changing since 2007. Now they have clearly said that we are not going to attack NGOs, or we are not going to attack any journalist or anything. We are just targeting security officers. But recently, just like some days back, we saw that there was an attack on UN's car.
Yes.
But then there was a statement from
NDI Khan, they attacked rural health center
Absolutely.
as
So
well.
there was a statement from TTP that we have nothing to do with this attack. So we have to understand that we cannot ask, like you said, that Afghan Taliban, why they are not asking TTP to fight against ISKP. That's not how this thing works, that Afghan Taliban can say to any militant organization, you have to fight against the other
They're
one.
even not saying not to fight with Pakistan.
No,
even.
but that they have said, you know, there were recent statements that Afghan nationals will not go and join, you know, TTP, or TTP said that we are not going to engage with Afghan nationals, or they are not allowed to, you know.
But it is another fact that most of the bombers who exploded
Absolutely.
here in Pakistan
Yeah.
in the suicide attacks, they were Afghans.
So this is the point where the border management system has to intervene, that who is coming and who is going. So a lot of attacks were planned here, and some plans were there, then executed here. So the whole this, you know, transition for coming and going from Afghanistan and Pakistan. But one thing I really want to say here, that whenever we are dealing with Afghanistan, all of the focus is on Kabul rather than Kandahar. We always look towards Kabul, that what's happening in Kabul and who is sitting there and who is speaking on behalf of the government. But we have to directly engage with Kandahar. That is the main, you know, where their supreme leader is, and from where all of the, you know, basic and core decisions are coming right now also.
Definitely.
So
definitely.
Pakistan has to take an approach that how we have to deal with Kandahar, because I guess, and Hassan Saab maybe like he can add into that it's more important to deal with Kandahar rather than Kabul.
I think at the moment the
Just
real,
few words, because we are just ending.
the real power lies in Kandahar as far as Afghanistan current polity is concerned. So it's better to be to contact our old friends in Kandahar than spending too much time in Kabul.
Definitely.
Kabul
What
is a
we
face,
what we are stressing, that might be Kabul don't have will, or either they don't have resources to
I think it is
govern whole
both.
of the
I think
Afghanistan.
it is both. It is both. It's
is
not
both.
only
It
the
is both.
resources, it is the will of the Afghan government too that they are not taking on these terrorists.
Definitely.
Yeah, targeting
Mr.
them.
Ambassador Shahid, why China and Russia are not actively actually pursuing the Daesh and Fitna al-Kharij, what we call it, TTP activities in Afghanistan, as especially Daesh is continuously strengthening cooperation with the regional terror outfits like East Turkestan Islamic Movement ETIM, Turkestan Islamic Party TIP, and Jamaatul Ansarullah?
China, you know, China has very serious business interest in Afghanistan. They have been given, you know, leases of many mines in Afghanistan. They have business interest, and they understand, because of the East Turkmenistan problem, they have been talking to them. But I tell you, Afghanistan is listening more to China and Russia. Russia also has these problems of terrorist issues. But they listen to them more attentively than they listen to us, because of the conflicting messages, as I said to you, good, bad, yeah, this and that. This is the reason. Now, I tell you frankly, Pakistan has extremely good relation with China and Russia. They understand. We don't have to, you see, brief them. They understand our problem, the predicament here. Their missions here in this country keep on informing them. But at the same time, behind the scenes, it's extremely important to talk to them, and so that they put sense into Afghanistan, that we can tell them that yes, we have tried our best. We don't want to get into a war in Afghanistan, and please try to help and intercede and tell them that this your territory cannot be allowed to be used against Pakistan, because it undermines your sovereignty first. And it gives a wrong signal to other countries that you are not in control of your country, and you have to coexist with Afghanistan, with Pakistan. You know, that is.
Very much. Thank you very much for your precious time, your very candid comments. Thank you very much for your presence online. Thank you very much, Kiran, for being here in the studios. Thank you very much, Hassan. So nice of you. And viewers, as you have just listened that to our panelists, that it is very important that when we are fighting a very fierce war against terrorism, it is a very famous quote that nation actually fight the terrorism, but the forces fight terrorists. So police must have to be well equipped, well armed, and well trained so that they can fight this menace in every province. It is important that our politicians must have to take responsibility and the ownership of this war, because Pakistan is fighting this war for the stability, development and prosperity. Afghanistan must have to take responsibility of having stability in their country and to control all those terrorist organizations who have took refuge at the Afghan soil. This is very important for Afghanistan as well, to have peace there. Then there would be a peace in the region. Pakistan and Afghanistan both have to negotiate with each other. That is very important. And within our borders, we have to fight this menace. We have to have strict border controls. That is very important. Terrorist onslaught must have to be there. Unwillingness of the Kabul, actually, they have to take action on this aspect as well. Fitna al-Kharij or the TTP has links with Kabul, unfortunately, and Kabul is supporting them. This is unfortunate, which is very much apparent in this report as well. This is the whole nation's approach. This is the whole nation's fight. Pakistan has to fight this war because of for the people of Pakistan, for the development, for the prosperity. And at the international level, at the regional level particularly, Russia and China are the two main sources. They are the part of a Shanghai Cooperation Organization. China is the very fast friend to Pakistan, and Afghanistan, they have interest there in Afghanistan as well. So China can play a part, Russia can play a part, and they always have to take part, because this is the regional issue and we have to deal with it. This is today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.